What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Kenny Tunison here. It's a glorious day out in the woods here, so decided to come out here and talk about arm training. All right, biceps and triceps specifically, no shoulders in this. I train shoulders on my upper body day, which is Monday and Fridays. All right, so that's shoulders, chest, and back on that day. Arms, I like doing the day after, which is, again, just biceps and triceps. All right, so the first workout that I love doing, that I've always pretty much done, all right, I kind of switched it with the standing barbell curl for a little while, but I have since returned to this workout because I just love it so much, and I think it's the best, not for everybody, but it's the best in my opinion for me, and that is the dumbbell incline curl. Now, I used to sway a lot when performing these, and that's why I'm doing the same weight basically now as I did 2 to 3 years ago when I was doing them, but that doesn't really matter to me, all right? The main focus here is to isolate the biceps, get a very deep stretch, and this is going to be probably the best bicep movement to accomplish that deep stretch. You don't really get much of a stretch on things like the standing barbell curl, even the preacher curl. You don't get much of a stretch on those. That doesn't mean they're not good. Those are also tremendous movements, but the incline dumbbell curl gives you that really good stretch. And I do about 2 to 3 warm-up sets with this, and then I'll do 3 working sets. And I'll do usually 40s for the first 2, get about between 9 to 12 reps there for both sets, and then I'll drop down to the 30s and just do like 15 reps, all right? Just as many as possible till I can't go no more with solid form. And that's that, all right? Now the next bicep workout that I love doing, and I think everyone should have in their arm day program, is going to be some type of preacher curl variation. Now, why is the preacher curl variation a necessity in my opinion? Well, it's putting your bicep at a much different position than, let's say, the incline curl or the regular standing barbell curl, all right? It's getting that bicep pretty much out front here and really forcing you to stretch. It's taking a lot of the swaying, pretty much all of the swaying motion out of curls, and it's just isolating the bicep there, getting a stretch and creating tension, excuse me, in a position that the bicep is not really used to, getting that stretch in. Now, when it comes to sets and reps for this, I do perform 2 warm-up sets because this is, I wouldn't say a dangerous movement, but if you just jump right into it and you decide to do a lot of weight, you can seriously injure yourself. But I'll do a few warm-up sets, and then I'll do about 3 working sets, and I use dumbbells for this. Why don't I use an easy bar like a normal person? Well, I have pretty banged up wrists from working labor for the past 1.5 years or so, and using the easy bar just bothers my wrists. So I use the dumbbell because my wrist is has much more of a free motion, I guess you can say, when doing them, and it's just more comfortable for me. Of course, if you don't have that problem, just use the easy bar. It's gonna get you in and out of doing that movement much quicker, because when you isolate both the right arm and the left arm, it's gonna take a little longer, just like every other, like iso-lateral movement where you're just isolating one side and then you have to do the other side. It just takes a little while, but I'm willing to do that because of my wrists. Also, doing 3 sets with this, I use the 30-pounders usually, and it gives me great pump, all right? I know pump's not everything, but really try to control the weight here, and of course, train to failure. Okay, now the third and final bicep movement that I do perform is going to be the seated dumbbell hammer curl. Now, I do this with the bench at a very steep angle, and that is because I want to just push my back up and my head up against it and not move my back or my head at all. I don't want that swaying motion that you see a lot of guys do when they're doing hammer curls. They're like, let me get a little closer to the camera here. They're just like swaying, back and forth, and they're also going crossbody. I prefer doing straight up, and I control it. That's why I'm sitting on the bench when I do it, and I go pretty light on these. I mean, I'll do like the first set with 40s, not heavyweight at all, and then I'll go down to like 30s for the third set, and it works great. all right? And a lot of guys say hammer curls are useless, but that is not true, all right? That is false, okay? They don't really hit the bicep much, but they do hit right here, all right? Right on the forearm, okay? And when you do, you know, flex your biceps like this, that is very noticeable, right? You kind of want that built up in your forearm area. And of course, it's also hitting the biceps. You know, you're getting the long head in there. So don't listen to anyone that's saying hammer curls are useless, all right? It's a great movement, and you should include them in your bicep routine. All right, on to triceps. Now, the first movement I always do is going to be a push down. And my variation is using the flat bar. I like using the flat bar. It just feels much better for me. You can use rope. It really doesn't matter. I know guys that use the V bar to push down. It doesn't matter. Whatever feels best for you, whatever you get the best results doing. But yeah, 3 sets of this. I do perform 2 warm-up sets, and I sway a little bit. You know, I'm not just like a robot right here pushing down. Okay, I do come up a little bit and go down, but not too much. All right, you still want to control the weight, and you want to go to failure. All right, now the next tricep workout is going to be the dumbbell French press. And you don't have to do a French press, all right? You really just need to do an overhead tricep movement. This can be skull crusher. It can be a seated French press. You can even do a French press with the rope on a pulley machine. But you do want to include some type of overhead movement. I do 3 sets of this, usually 2 warm-up sets and then 3 working sets. You guys are probably like, that's a lot of sets, but I like doing warm-up sets, all right? I do warm-up sets with very light weight, and then I'll do like a moderate weight, and then I'll get into my 3 heavy working sets where I train to failure. Okay, now the final tricep movement that I perform is going to be the cross-head dumbbell skull crusher, I guess you can call it. I don't really know what to call this thing. I've been actually calling it the ear crusher just because it's going in that direction across my head, but I'll lay flat on a bench, grab a dumbbell, usually pretty light. I mean, you can't really go heavy on these, so that's out of the question there. But pretty light, usually like a 25-pound dumbbell, and I'll control the weight. All right, right to the ear of the other side of the head and straight back up. And it's basically just a skull crusher, but you're hitting it at a different angle. And I found that this kind of builds the right here of the tricep really well for me. So I've been sticking with it. I used to do skull crushers right after French press, but I was like, kind of feels like I'm doing the same movement. And I wanted to do something different that was hitting the tricep at a different angle. And I'm not the one who came up with this movement. Okay, I got this from Steve Reeves, his book, Building the Classic Physique the Natural Way. I got it from there. Okay, so this workout's been around for a while. Nobody really does it anymore, but I've found success doing it. Do you have to do it? No. All right, there's other variations of this that you can do. You can use a cross cable machine where you're just right here, crossing the cables out, okay? It's hitting the same area, same angle, pretty much. And yeah, that is the video, guys. That's my arm day currently, and that is pretty much what I've done since I started training six and a half years ago, okay? So did just change my whole arm day routine and then throw a video out there. These are the workouts that I've done for quite a long time, and it's gotten me to 17+ inch arms. And right now I am 11.4% body fat, measured it this morning. That's pretty big for low body fat percentage, and I'm proud of it. So thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and as always, God bless. I'll see you guys later.